I have often said that the best coping strategy that we can give to a caregiver is to teach them to pray. I think that people may have the concept of prayer being more formal, that type of a thing. And that formal prayer, no doubt, wonderful. Say the rosary, whatever, that's fine. But I think that for a caregiver, when there's a feeling of, I can't take time to stop out and step away to pray, I can't go to church right now, or I can't stop to pray, what's incredible is that because of the presence of God, you can pray all the time. And not just in the sense of activity, it's not just that, it's that right now at this moment I could be praying. I am driving out Florida down to a doctor appointment that I think is going to be a bad appointment. And we're just tooling along and I could be praying the whole time. That kind of a thing, that prayer can be there all the time. And what's amazing is that because of the presence of God, that prayer is instant. You don't have to go get in line to talk to him. You don't have to call him up on the phone. You can just right here and right now say, God help me. And you've got a prayer. And if we use that as a coping strategy, a whole lot of other stuff suddenly becomes not quite so overwhelming and not quite so tricky to do, because we have this instant communication with God. He asked us to do it. He's here with us, and we can talk to him anytime. It's really an amazing thing when you think of it, because that's support groups, outside help, all kinds of stuff. That is not as instant as the power of prayer. And we have found that a lot of caregivers, once they have finished their role and they're no longer a caregiver, they pray for people who are still caregivers. So once you get this strategy down in life, that you're praying on a constant basis, you can also be praying even when this role is done. It doesn't have to be just in the role of being a caregiver, obviously. It could be in any part of our lives. But I think that for a caregiver who is frightened, exhausted, a little bit ticked off at the world, feeling guilty about everything, the thought of being able to connect with your God, just right here, seems pretty cool. So what we're suggesting is going with the idea that prayer can be right here, right now, that at this very moment, we can be praying. So and for a caregiver, that's an important piece of the whole thing. I think that people who don't pray maybe need a little help on how to pray. And it, like I said before, the more formal, the rosary or those kind of prayers that are formal prayers, people may know that. But the idea of praying, this type of praying, I have a quote from John Paul II. He said, "If you know the joy of praying, you know that the experience cannot be expressed in words. The only possible way to discover the hidden richness of prayer is praying. You learn to pray by praying." And I think that, for me, was really helpful, because I thought, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to how do you pray? But when you start doing it and you're practicing, you do it by practicing, doing it by praying, you feel it then, and you can feel the richness of it. And so I would suggest that if you have folks that you can help, that you can encourage them to look at their caregiving role from a perspective of a spiritual journey. And then they have this extra kind of support on top by you've got the resources, the access to everything that they need, but they have this spiritual side as another really critical piece of support for them.